Story of Yechezkel, first chapter in the book of Ezekiel, speaks about Hashem told him to come down to a certain place. I'll meet you there. And he came there and he saw the chariot of Hashem. That's where you'll see the name, the words chariot of Hashem. That's the Maaseh Merkava, which is one of the deepest stories in the Kabbalah. Talks about it. I mean, how does Hashem appear, and how does he come to appear? And it's a Merkava, a chariot that carries Hashem, and it's a whole description. But before you get to know Hashem, before you get to see Hashem, there are certain things that the Svarim call klipos. Klipos are like a skin on top of the fruit, like a banana peel or something, or an orange peel. It's a peel, something that has to be peeled off in order to get to the fruit. Right? Yechezkel came to the meeting place and he saw a ruach sa'ora, a terrible storm. You have it in the Haftarah of Shavuos. It's not that far away that you should have forgotten it already. But anyway, he saw a ruach sa'ora, a storm wind, and then an onon godol, a deep cloud, and esh mislakachas, a fiery storm, a storm of fire. And then there was another word that's there, it's called noga. It was like a light that shone from within. Okay. The Svarim all explain that these three things that we spoke about are considered klipos, or the powers of Tumah, the powers of the Yetzer Hara, right? Did you ever find yourself caught up in some kind of maelstrom, or where you get all tied up and it's too much? Did you ever find that? A storm wind, right? Something goes wrong in the house, husband and wife, right? Or if it's a business, or if it's a storm wind. That's one of the first klipos, very strong klipa. The second one is an onon godol, a cloud. A cloud is made to cloud your vision. That you want to see something right, you want to see something about Hashem, you want to see something about Torah, you want to see something good, right? But did you ever find your vision distorted? Has it ever happened that you just didn't see things right? That's the onon godol. That's that cloud that you see. And then there's an esh mislakachas, a fire that's burning and burning and burning. Fire destroys everything in its path. All right? That's what the Yetzer Hara is all about. Those three things. Then there's a klipas noga, a light. Noga is a light, but it's a strange light. It's strange because half of it is good and half of it is no good. Sometimes a klipa, a skin, is good. An apple, a plum, peach, right? Skin is not bad. Sometimes the skin, right? Try and eat a grapefruit skin, right? Try it. Lemon skin, whatever. Right? There are skins that are no good. Klipa, noga, has good and evil in it. Okay? That's the structure of the Yetzer Hara, and that's what we all have to face during life if we want to go ahead. If you don't want, doesn't matter. Right? If you want to go ahead, you know that you're going to face different problems. You're going to find yourself engulfed in some kind of hurricane or storm wind, right? Whether it's my own heart that's wavering in different places, and I want, I don't want this, but I can't control myself. That's a storm wind. Did you ever have that? Did it ever happen to anyone here in this room? Or did it never happen to anyone here in this room? All right? It's a storm wind. It happens all the time. It's the way it goes, right? Things are quiet and peaceful in life, and then all of a sudden you find yourself confronted with who knows what, and who knows how we're going to be able to overcome this. The second klipa was an onon godol, a very, very deep cloud. Right? How many times have we found ourselves with sveikois, with doubts? Did you ever have that? A doubt, should I do this? Should I get out of bed in the morning? What should I do? Well, what should I do? Right? Should I invest in this business? Should I marry this girl? Should I... doubts, cloud. The cloud clouds your vision. It's made in order to be able to confuse the person. You're going to have it almost every day. It's going to come. Then, of course, the burning fire, which represents all the desires and lusts that people have, that they're just caught up with, and they have to, I have what they call a taiva, a desire, and I can't control myself or whatnot. But it burns up everything in your path if you do the wrong thing, right? If you don't quench that fire, then God forbid you could be completely eaten up by all the different desires that we have. And there's plenty of desires out there, right? Plenty of them. There's no lack. Okay, so these are called the three klipos tameim, three completely impure klipos, or what to call them, husks. That's what they call them in English. I don't know why they call it husks, but whatever. But these are three different klipos that surround us at any given moment. Any given moment we're going to be confronted with something. It's called, really, in simple language, the Yetzer Hara. It's the evil inclination. And that tries to make us completely evil. It tries. Baruch Hashem, Hashem created us, Rav Nosson of Breslov says, in Kut Alochas, he says that the seichel of a person is so powerful that no matter how much you can get confused and whatnot, if you look for your seichel, you look for your intellect and utilize it, you'll find that you can overcome everything. You have that power, right? And the proof is, Rabbi Nachman brings in the first Torah, Lakuta Moran and whatnot, he says that, he brings a Gemara. Gemara is in Masechta Soita, the beginning. Ein odom over avera ele imkei nichnas by ruach shtus. Person doesn't do a sin unless he has a wave of foolishness overcoming him. The Yetzer Hara, right? So think about it. Did we do everything right in our lives? Right? So how many ruach shtus do we have inside us? How many of us have things that we've done wrong? 1, 2, 3 times, 70 times, 1,000 times, who knows what? We did things that weren't exactly right. So really, I should be filled with shtus, right? I should be overcome with shtus, and I'm not. Why not? Because the seichel of a person is so powerful, it's so enduring, that it can overcome anything that the person has ever faced in life. Oh yeah, we succumbed, we fell, we have our problems, but we have the power to overcome. And that's where that fourth klipa, noga, comes in. Noga has good, and noga has evil. So let's think about this. The person is studying Torah, he's saying Tillim, he's davening, he's doing a mitzvah, bika cholim, milas chesed, whatever it is. If he's doing it, so whatever he's doing, I mean, you're going to visit a sick person in the hospital. You're taking your time, whether you're taking it out of your business time, you're taking it out of your learning time, you're taking it out of your family time, but you're taking the mundane and you're using the mundane to do a mitzvah, right? So that way you take the klipas noga, you take that light that's there and you turn it into kedusha. You can take something mundane and turn it into the kedusha. You're eating. Do you eat every day? Right? If you eat every day, that's mundane. No one's forcing you to eat. It's permitted. It's actually encouraged, but it's not a mitzvah unto itself. But if you connect that mitzvah, eating, so I should have strength to serve Hashem, I should be able to stay up the whole night Shavuos, I should fast Tisha B'Av, or whatever it may be, right? I've turned that eating into a mitzvah, into Kedusha. If, on the other hand, I'm indulging, then I take the noga, that thing that I'm permitted to do, I'm permitted to eat, but if I don't attach it to the Kedusha, it becomes evil. It's used for wrongful things. So our life has to be to take, to quell, to oppress, suppress the three klipos, and to learn to take the things that are mundane, the things that are klipos, they're tomei, they're no good, whatever they are, they're no good. But noga is the mundane area of our life. You could start a brush fire in Montreal and it could spread very far, right? That's what we're having going through now. But that's what happens. When you take the mundane and you use it in the Kedusha, then, you know, a lot of people, they burn waste. It's good. You get rid of the waste and you control the fire and whatnot. If, on the other hand, you don't control it, it gets out of control. So really, the battle in life is not for Kedusha or Tumah. Kedusha, we know what's right. Come to shul, daven, learn, do mitzvahs. We know that's right. Eat on Shabbos, that's a mitzvah. Right? That eating is a mitzvah. But you take the mundane and you turn it into something that's positive. Whereas on the other hand, if you learn to take the mundane and use it for all worldly things, then you're opening yourself up to all kinds of problems. They don't have to be big problems, but they could be problems. So that's your discussion on the cloud that you're getting, okay? Right? You can have that and you can do whatever you want. We can go further with this, or we can take a different topic.
What is the klipas noga? How do you define the klipas noga?
There's something mundane that's going to come to you. Eating, sleeping, right?
Something neutral.
Something you can control. Marital relations, right? That's noga. It's permitted. There are certain times when that thing becomes a mitzvah. I love Shena b'Shabbos Tainuk. You know, sleeping on Shabbos is wonderful, right? You eat the Shabbos meal. It's a tremendous mitzvah. You're eating. Permissible. But you're eating, it becomes a full mitzvah, a tremendous mitzvah to eat on Shabbos. The Oneg Shabbos, that's called, that a person will get an extra reward in Gan Eden for keeping Shabbos is because you enjoyed the Shabbos meal. Right? That's mundane. But there are times when it's not so good. And you have to know when. Right? I mean, if you're on a diet, you can eat certain foods, but you have to know your limitations. Right? If you don't know your limitations, you go beyond. Addiction. Addiction is a terrible thing. Alcohol, drugs, gambling, sex, money, whatever you want. If it's an addiction, I gotta have it. I gotta have it. Then you're in trouble. That's no good. Right? Some things might be permissible. Take a little schnapps on Shabbos, cover Shabbos. Okay, why not? Right? Get involved with it the whole week. You're addicted. No good. Okay? That's what Noga is. Noga is the permitted. Noga is the mundane. And you have to learn to take the mundane and bring it into the realm of holiness. And you can, because you have that intellect that tells you when this is good and when this is no good. When I can do it, when I can't do it. You have control over your life. That's what the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara are all about. All right? Right? Today they call it addiction. Today it is in psychology. There's I don't know how many 30, 50, 100 different names for different problems that people have. In Israel, in Jewish life, there's two problems. There's the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara. It all goes back to the same. It all boils down to the same concept. Either it's good or it's not good. But you don't have that in the world today. Today the world is so mixed up, anything goes, right? Everything is permitted and whatnot. So that's the problem. So do you want to continue this discussion? We can go into it, or you want to go into something else? All right? Continue. Okay. There was a fellow who was created at the beginning of creation. His name was Adam. Adam Harishon. Right? Adam Harishon. He was given one mitzvah. One mitzvah. Right? Actually, it was two mitzvahs. The first mitzvah is you can eat from all the fruits of the garden. Just don't eat from the Eitz Hadas. Just don't eat from that one. That's one mitzvah he was given. Right? And he flubbed it. Right? He flubbed it. Right? The Medrash says later on in Vayikra you have the law of Orla. Orla, as you know, you plant a tree, you have to wait 3 years until you can eat of the fruits. Right? So the Medrash says, "Miyagala ofa me'anecha Adam Harishon." Who's going to uncover the dirt from your eyes? You know, the cloud, right? Who's going to take that dirt off your eyes? You couldn't wait 1 hour. 1 hour, the Gemara in Sanhedrin says, right? And your children will wait 3 years until they can, after they plant a tree, till it produces fruit. Right? 3 years they're going to wait. So it starts with Adam Harishon. He was given a tree of good and evil, Tov V'Ra. Right? And what happened was that he was, well, let's put it this way. There were the Mishnah. I see you have a Mishnah over there. Good. No, let's leave it. It's okay. But the Mishnah, right? If you look throughout the entire Mishnah, Shisha Sidrei Mishnah, there's 530 chapters, a little bit more than that, whatever. You'll find out that every law that you discuss, every law has one of two things, three sets of one of two things. Either it is osur or mutur, it's forbidden or it's permissible. Either it is tomei or tohar, it's impure or pure, right? Otherwise, it's either kosher or posel, it's fit or unfit. All the laws in the 6 Sidrei Mishnah are all found in these three sets of laws. Tomei tohar, osur mutar, kosher posel. There are 6 days in a weekday, in a week, 6 weekdays, right? These 6 weekdays represent the different parts that the Mishnah teaches. The 6 days, this is good, this is bad. In other words, the 6 weekdays represent the mundane. Shabbos represented the Eitz HaChaim, the tree of life. The weekdays are represented in the tree of good and evil. All right, this is the way it works. This is where we have the mundane that has to be elevated into Shabbos. Shabbos is called the root, the source of all blessing. Shabbos is the root of all blessing. And therefore, it's Shabbos that we have to seek, right? But you can't have Shabbos the entire week. So you have 6 days where things are mundane. Here, Shabbos, you can't do any work. Shabbos, you have to keep Kodesh Hashem. So it's much easier to come and find Hashem. And, as we started off with Yechezkel, the main thing of a person's life is to find Hashem, the chariot of Hashem, or to find out where Hashem is. Because, as Reb Nosson says in the Kuta Halachos, every person, that means all of us, plus everybody else, can become a chariot to Hashem. You could carry Hashem in you. You can carry Hashem upon you. You could be a chariot. You have to overcome the 3 klipos. You have to overcome the noga included into the kedusha. And that was Odom HaRishon. He was supposed to bring the world to perfection by waiting till Shabbos, not eating from the Eitz Hadas, but he did. So that admixture of good and evil, of Tov V'Ra, that all came out through his generations. That's us. Right? We're the ones who still have that good and evil inside us. We're the ones that have the Yetzer Hara. Nobody is born without a Yetzer Hara. Nobody is born without desires. Good desires or other desires. Everybody is born with it. So the story of the mundane starts really from the creation. Right? Adam HaRishon was created, the Gemara in Sanhedrin says. The first hour, Hashem began gathering his dust. Second hour, he started putting it together. He started forming it. 4, 5, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours in the day. Right? The day starts at 6 a.m. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Adam HaRishon stood on his feet. It's Gemara in Sanhedrin, Ahmed Ches, I think. Right? So he stood on his feet, and Hashem tells him, don't eat from the Eitz Hadas, and the next hour, he ate from the Eitz Hadas. Didn't last 1 hour. Right? So what are we supposed to say? Adam HaRishon was carved out, created, hand-formed by Hashem himself. Right? And he didn't last. What are we supposed to say about ourselves? Right? But that's not the way to think. The way to think is you have all the cloudy vision, you have all the storm winds that attack us and whatnot, but what we have to do is take ourselves and turn ourselves into a vehicle for Hashem. To know that when I say Shema Yisrael in the morning, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, Hashem is my God. Right? So Reb Nosson says in the Kuta Halachos, very beautiful thing. He says the Gemara in Brachos, Yud Gimel it up. The Gemara in Bracha says that what is the word Shema Yisrael doing in the declaration? You declare Hashem is our God. Say Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. What's Shema Yisrael for? Why say Shema? Listen. Why listen? So the Gemara has two commentaries. One is Shema Hashmeya le'oznecha ma she'ata motzi mipicha. Let your heart hear what you're saying from your mouth. Right? Hashmeya le'oznecha, your ears. Why? Because when you hear something with your ears and it enters, right, the canal, by the way, the canal of the ears is connected to the heart too. Right? So Shmiya, the Zohar says, believe Batalia. It depends on your heart. You hear something. Do you take it to heart? Do you take what you heard to heart? Then you heard it. If you don't take it to heart, it doesn't mean anything to you. So it came to your ears. So what? You didn't let your ears bring it down to your heart. So that's the first pshat in the Gemara. Hashmeya la'oznecha. Let your ears hear. Right, so that it goes into your heart and you understand that Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Then the Gemara says a totally different idea. Shema means b'chol loshon sha'ato shomeya. Right, it means that in any language that you understand, you could say the Shema. You understand it in Hebrew, okay, in English, French, Canada, right? French, you speak Russian, you speak Swahili. I mean, it doesn't matter. If you speak the language, you could say Shema in that language. These are two different commentaries of the Gemara on the word Shema. Rav Nosson says it's one commentary. One commentary. If you're going to open your ears to hear that Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, you're going to bring it into your heart, then b'chol loshon sha'ata shemeya, anything that you hear during the day is going to bring you knowledge that Hashem echad shmo echad. Isn't that beautiful? You can do it. Just you believe it. Do you have that belief that Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem echad, Hashem is the one? He's the one God? You believe that? Right? Then you'll be able to hear whatever people say. You'll be able to hear something about how to come close to Hashem. Isn't that beautiful? Right? That's what the mundane is all about. The Yetzer Hara tries to conceal from the person that Hashem exists. If you believe in Hashem, that He controls the world. He runs it. He created it, and He recreates it every single day. You believe in Hashem like that, so that everything you're going to encounter during the day is going to somehow remind you of Hashem. Oh yeah, you're involved in business. You have things to do for the house. You have different friends. Something comes up. Of course, there are things that are going to misdirect you. But really, if your heart is in the right place, where you're thinking of Hashem, and you're getting the idea that everything is run by Hashem, then you'll be able to find Hashem in everything you do. Everything. Family life, children, relationships, business. You'll be able to find Hashem everywhere. That's what it's all about. Okay? That's what you have to do. That's the mundane. Right? If you're davening, well, of course you're supposed to daven to Hashem, right? Is that where your mind is during davening? Right? We talked about the mundane, but can I ask you what you were thinking about during Shemoneh Esrei? The Baditch of a Rav once went to one of his congregants right after Shemona Esrei. He gave him a very warm Shalom Aleichem. He says, "What do you mean, Rebbe? I'm here. I've been here." He says, "You were here now, but during Shemona Esrei, your mind was on your business in Warsaw. So you weren't here. So now that you came back after Shemona Esrei, I'm giving you Shalom Aleichem." Right? And we talk about having Hashem in the mundane. How about having Hashem when we're learning? Right? You say Birchas HaTorah in the morning. Well, no Hashem Elokeinu. Kulanu Yodei Shemecha. We all know your name. We're learning Torah Lishma. Right? Is that where our minds are when we're learning? True, you have to understand what you're learning. You have to understand it. Let it speak to you. Let it explain to you. But are you learning it with Hashem in mind? You're davening. Hodul Hashem kiru v'shmoy. Right? Hu rachum yechaper avon. Ashrei yosh, whatever. Are you thinking of Hashem when you're saying that? Or are we just running through the emotions because I got to get to work or I have to run over here or whatever the case is? But that's the story. We have to keep Hashem in mind the entire time. I know it's not something that's often spoken about. Right? Hashem is kind of an abstract issue. Right? He's okay as long as he does what I want, and as long as I file, this is okay, I can do that too, whatever the story might be. But is Hashem supreme in our minds? Is Hashem foremost in our minds? Right? We spoke about the mundane. What about our avodas Hashem? I'm doing a mitzvah, I'm keeping Shabbos. Is it because of Hashem? Did I bring Hashem into my mind? And this is where we'll go into one of Rabbi Nachman's major teachings. Rabbi Nachman says, do hispoidetus. You've heard of hispoidetus? Hispoidetus means your own private prayer to Hashem. Because that's what davening was before the Siddur was established. Right? Till the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah, there was no Siddur. Hispoidetus means you talk to Hashem. Whatever is in your heart, whatever is on your mind, and I mean whatever. Whatever it is, you speak to Hashem, you ask Him about it, you thank Him for the good that He's done to you, right? Thank Hashem for the good. Do you ever do that the whole day? Right? Thank Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. I saw recently a bumper sticker to have T.Y. Rebbe and Mora. Right? Thank you, Rebbe and Mora. Right? On the cars, the parents drive, but the kids are the ones, right? Thank you for being there so I don't have to take care of you the whole day. Right? Or like someone said, we appreciate the Rebbes and the Moras when it's a snow day. Anyway, whatever the case is, the thing that we have to realize is that we have to thank Hashem for whatever it is that we have in our life. Oh yeah, I'm allowed to complain and say, Hashem, I'm hurting. Right? Whether it's physical, it's financial, it's emotional, or it's spiritual. Let's say perhaps most important, of course, is spiritual. Am I really in sync with you, Hashem? Am I really doing things for you? But I have emotional problems too. That's the cloud, that's the storm wind, that it's there, right? Hashem, thank you for everything that I have till now. Or I heard a great word in Eretz Yisrael. I mean, I have arthritis, so it reminds me once in a while. But it says, the Mishnah says, Ezehu Oshir Hasomech bechelkoi. Who is wealthy? One who's happy with what he has. So some guy told me, eh, you're happy with whatever part of the body that still works, right? That's an osher, right? Baruch Hashem. But then I heard another thing. Osher is ayin, shin, yud, resh. Osher is einayim, right? Shin is shinayim. I have my teeth, right? Yud is yadayim. My hands are still working, and resh is raglayim. So, you have to be thankful what I have that's still working. You have to be thankful. But then you can cry out to Hashem, Hashem, I'm suffering with this. I need this. I need parnosa. Actually, you're supposed to pray for parnosa every single day. And you do. In Shemon Esrei. Baruch Aleinu Hashem, Elokeinu Shana Hazois. That's a blessing for parnosa. You're supposed to do it every day. Right? And it's nothing wrong if you add your own words. Hashem, I got a business deal coming up, or I just made a mistake, I lost some money, whatever. Speak to Hashem about it. Hispoidedus is from the Hebrew word boded, alone. You're alone with Hashem. Sit in the corner, be under the covers of your bed, doesn't matter. Be out in the street, you're traveling on the subway. You don't have a subway out here in Jersey, no? But whatever. Okay, I grew up in Brooklyn. Whatever. So anyway, wherever you are, you're sitting by yourself, speak to Hashem. Speak to Him. Cajole Him. Right? Plead with Him. Beg Him. Hashem, help me. Right? I remember, should I tell the story? Okay. I was not yet 17. I was 16 and change. This goes back to 1962. All right, it's a few years ago. At that time, it wasn't common for people to travel to Israel. There were flights, there were charter flights and whatnot, but it wasn't common. Certainly, a 17-year-old kid didn't go off to Israel by himself. Today, everyone has to go to yeshiva. Yeah, you need it for your shidduch, or what they call VC, or what do they call the curriculum, the CV. You need it for the CV. I learned in yeshiva here. I was in this seminary. Say them. But in those days, nobody went to Eretz Yisrael. Didn't happen. It was after the Cuban crisis when I said to myself, I got to go to Eretz Yisrael. I want the mitzvah of being in Eretz Yisrael before Mashiach comes. I was a maverick, right? I didn't stay with the crowd or whatever. So I said, I'm going to go. So I come home one day from yeshiva. I tell my mother, my father was nifter, so I told my mother, I'm going to Israel this summer. Right. Okay. She played along with me for a few weeks, and but I saw she wasn't serious. I was. So I started making waves. I come home from night, I needed the money the next day to pay for the ticket. I come home from yeshiva one night, and I found my entire family there. Grandparents, uncles, aunts, everyone was there. They sat me down in the corner on the couch. They all sat around me. The Gemara says Sanhedrin used to sit in a circle, right? They all sat around me. All right, what's this thing which you want to go to Eretz Yisrael? I answered, I want the mitzvah of going to Eretz Yisrael. Who ever heard of things like that in those days? It was unheard of. Right? Okay. That was it. Why can't you do it? Then next year you'll graduate, so you'll go afterwards for a year. You'll start. We'll pay for it then. And I want to go now. Now I want the mitzvah now. And this went back and forth, and they're arguing with me, and I'm arguing with them back and forth. Finally, I said, "Okay, Hashem, this is enough." I said, "Hashem, this is enough." I shut everybody out. They're sitting there talking, arguing with me, saying whatever they're saying, and I shut everybody out. I turned to Hashem, and I said, Hashem, I want to cry. Hashem, I want to cry. I sat there 5-7 minutes. Hashem, I want to cry. Why? Because the Gemara says in Bava Metzia, the Gemara says that sometimes the gates of prayer are closed, but the gates of tears are never closed. So I said, Hashem, I want to cry. And I started crying. I said, Hashem, I'm crying. The gates are never closed. I want to go to Eretz Yisrael. And I spent another few minutes saying, Hashem, I want to go to Eretz Yisrael. I was crying, praying. The whole family picked up and walked out of the room. I don't know what happened. I don't know why. I have no idea. It didn't matter to me. A few minutes later, they came back. Here's your check. Go. All right? You could beg Hashem for something that you want. That's what I wanted then. And that's what happened. And it taught me a lesson for life. The idiot that I am, I didn't learn it and use it enough. But I still used it a few times. Baruch Hashem. Point is that we have the power with our mouths to conquer Hashem. With our ispoidus, with our tefillah, we can get Hashem to do what we want. Right? It's the mundane maybe. Maybe I'm not right. And I say that in my ispoidus. I say, Hashem, this is what I'd like. I don't know if it's good. This is the reason I want it. Maybe it's not good for this reason. I don't know. But I'm turning to you. I want this. And then I do it with other things. And I want this, and I want this, and I want this. Right? And it can be done. You have no idea the power that we have to conquer Hashem with our tefillos, as long as you say it from the heart. Ispoidus. That's what conquering the mundane is all about. Do you really want to go on the right path? Do you really want to serve Hashem? Do you really want to recognize Hashem in whatever it is that you're doing? Bring Hashem into your life. How do you bring Hashem into your life? Hashem, help! Scream. Cry out. Say it. And you can do it. You'll be amazed at the things that happen when you bring Hashem into your life. Okay? So now, I have no idea what time it is. I have no idea what the schedule is. Where's Myra? Huh?
Myra at 9, so we have
What time is it now?
8:34. We got plenty of
Oh,
time.
we have time. Okay. All right. Say it.
Ask Rav a quick question. Saying about Shema Yisrael, Gemara asked why are we adding Shema Yisrael? So I understood part about Shema, but why are we saying Yisrael?
Well, who's going to listen?
We're
You're talking to Hashem, but you're telling Hashem, listen, you're one. You're telling, I'm Yisrael. I'm a Jew. I say Shema Yisrael. I try to listen. Okay? Are there any questions that anyone has? Feel free, don't worry about it. I have, as I said earlier, I'm nearing 80, and I need to hear better.
So what to do that we were discussing, does that have to be with the Tuis Hatayim, have to say it, or is it something that can be done with just
It
thought?
can be done in the mind, but it doesn't have the effect as when you say it. Have you ever had thoughts you weren't sure about what they were, and you started articulating it, and it became clearer? Yeah? Has that happened? Yeah. That's why you have to have a spoilers with your mouth. That's why. You'll be amazed at how things become clearer to you because you articulate it with your mouth. That's the spoilers. That's tefillah. Right? I mean, Hashem knows our thoughts. Why do we have to daven? Right? Is to bring out from within that energy that declares Hashem Echad. Hashem Molech Togel Ha'aretz, Hashem Melech, Hashem Molech, Hashem Yimloch, whatever. You know, articulate it. Doesn't mean anything. You ever say Yoleinu? V'hoya Hashem the Melech al kol ha'aretz. Who's that? Who's called ha'aretz? Aside from us, Jews, who are supposed to recognize Hashem, it means everybody else. Even, what's his name? Yair Lapid, people like that. Even them, Hashem is supposed to be recognized by them. It's slowly happening, right? The fact that they fight it so much. Do you ever see an atheist deny Hashem? Yeah? Why? It doesn't exist. Why should he have to deny it? Because Hashem is there for everybody, right? Just some people know about it. Some people are somewhat aware. Some people have no idea. But Hashem is there. So V'hoya Hashem the Melech al kol ha'aretz, on everybody. Yeah, it includes me too. Think of it, right?
It sounded like the Rav said that Hisbodedus, you could do it.
A little louder.
It sounded like the Rav said you could do Hisbodedus even with a room full of people.
Even?
Even if there's a lot of people in the same.
Yeah. I've had it on a crowded train, you know. There is an experience, but
It's not so easy to speak loudly.
no. So you speak softly,
loud. Yeah.
right?
Rabbi, is the war in Ukraine now,
Louder.
what's going on in Ukraine with Russia? Is that something related to Oman and the fact
It has
that
to be.
Oman-
It has to be related to Uman. Exactly how? I'll say this much: it's stopping a lot of people from going to Uman, right? But what's happening? The Gemara says, any Purani, Gemara Bava Basra, any Puranius that happens in the world, anything bad that happens in the world, is because of the Jews. Now, does it mean that we did bad and we're suffering? Could be. Doesn't mean we did good and it's trying to push us up even higher, right? Well, it doesn't mean that it's to make us more aware of Hashem in everything that's going on in the world. I mean, you have this, I don't know what to say, what to call him, this guy in North Korea, an absolute lunatic, right? And you always see him smiling, he's probably on drugs and whatnot, right? I mean, what is he doing in the globe? I don't know. But he's there for a purpose. But take it closer to home, Iran, right? They're absolutely nuts over there, right? They're absolutely nuts, right? No question about it, right? And they're there, right? So the same thing with Russia and Ukraine, right? I personally wish them both total success. Right? If you have any idea how many rivers of Jewish blood lie soaked in the earth there, right, you would understand what I meant. But I wish them both total success, right? But it shouldn't interfere with Uman. It shouldn't interfere with the Jews. There's too many Jews in Ukraine and Russia that are suffering because of this. Too many. The chief rabbi of Russia left because he couldn't face Putin. There's another guy there, Rabbi Beryl Lazar. I know his father, but Beryl Lazar, he's very friendly with Putin, and he's there to help the Jews that are remain there. But it's a very perilous situation because the Russians have a long history of anti-Semitism, a long history of killing Jews, pogroms and whatnot. So do the Ukrainians, right? So the situation for anyone there is very shaky, and very difficult. And we have to daven for peace, which I do. I don't do it for their reasons, I do it for my reasons. I want to be able to travel to Uman Right? So I would like peace. I have traveled there otherwise, but now we have to go through Moldova, Kishinev, which also had its fair share of pogroms against Jews. Or we go through Romania. Last year I went through Poland, right? But it makes a 3-hour flight from Tel Aviv to Kiev, it turns it into an 8, 10, 12, 15-hour journey, which I'm not happy about, but I do it, right? So that's the story. But that there's a war there, it's because of us. For whatever reason Hashem wants, I don't know. Right? Any questions?
And this week, well, it's this week's parsha for us, all this stuff. I came across a pasuk this morning that said, "V'im kacha at osali," and then Moshe continues, "Hageni mat haro."
Rashi says, if you're making me into a woman,
Tashush kol chok shel Moshe.
in kocha at oisali, you're making me into an at, a woman.
Right, so I saw a parush that said that the reason why he perceived Hashem and called him an at instead of an atah is because that's the way actually Moshe perceived him. That his perception of the Rabbanu Shalom came from within himself, that he projected and then thought that that's how
Hashem is boss and I'm the wife.
And
I'm the
so
woman,
I
I'm the recipient.
I thought that I'd seen or come across Torahs or halachos that talked about this idea that the way we perceive Hashem has much to do with our own
Yeah,
projection, and I was hoping you would.
we'll take next week, you have Shlach, right? The Meraglim went and they came back and they said, Vanihi be'einenu kachagovim, we felt like butterflies in their eyes. V'chein hoyinu be'eineihem. And that's the way we were seen in their eyes. Now, if I feel like a butterfly, okay, I feel it, it's me. But how do I know what went on in their minds? Right? All the anti-Semitism that you find today, right, is the perception the Jew is going to take over the world, the Jew is running the entire business, the Jew is this, the Jew is that. That's their perception. Who told them it's right? It may be true, but who said it's right? Right? It's perception. The way you perceive Hashem is the way Hashem is going to let you perceive Him. Right? You perceive Hashem as all-powerful, then you're going to be able to see the power that Hashem has. If you see Hashem, well, you're a God, you're okay, you're abstract, whatever, right? And that's the way you're going to feel about Hashem. That He can't do me any good because what good has it done me till now? Right? It's up to you. But you can make yourself a chariot for Hashem. You have that ability. You have that power. The power of your mouth. Any of you familiar with the Kabbalistic terms of the spheros? Right? Malchus. Right? There are 10 spheros. Starts with Keser, Chochmah, Bina. It goes down to Malchus. Malchus is the lowest of all the spheres. Malchus means authority. Ever think of it? Malchus is authority. It's the lowest level, right? The lowest level. And yet, Malchus is called Malchus Peh, the authority of the mouth. It's your mouth that makes all the other spheroids interact to bring you the koyach that you need to do whatever it is you have to do. It's the mouth that does it. Right? Or as a friend of mine puts it, about a spoididus, you understand it? How could you ever establish a relationship with someone with whom you never speak? Right? You don't speak to Hashem. You ever speak to your wife, your children, your business partner, whatever. You want to buy something in the store, sir, could you help me with this? Right? It's all with the mouth. A relationship with Hashem. If you don't talk to Him, how are you ever going to establish a relationship with Him? It all boils down to His pointers. It all boils down to your speaking, because when you speak to Hashem, you're automatically saying, Hashem, you're the boss, you're in charge, right? I accept that. What can I do to be in sync with you? Simple. Very simple. Doesn't feel that way at first, but get used to it, and you'll see the joy, the inner peace that you'll have when you learn to speak to Hashem. And again, you can tell Him, thank you. You can tell Him, I'm hurting. Tell Him. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. Tell Him.
I had an idea that there's a time when one should thank Hashem for the tests that he's being put through, and instead of asking
Thank Hashem for the
tests or the difficulties that they're going through, that they shouldn't, ask for what they want, let's say parnas or whatever it may be, but instead they should thank Hashem. What are your thoughts on that? How does that relate? to
When you
this
think,
discussion?
when you talk to Hashem, you want to thank Him for what you have, for what He's given you until now. Okay? You can't thank Him for what the future holds. You can thank Him for the present and for the past. Okay? When you want to thank Hashem, well, I could thank Hashem for certain tests that I have gone through. Yeah. I could thank Hashem for those tests, for having been able to pass them.
A difficulty that one is currently going through,
Yeah?
they're going through it because Hashem wants them to go through it.
Yes.
So if you're asking for something different, as opposed to thanking Hashem for what you're currently experiencing, that's a little bit maybe more of the question.
Okay. Reb Nosson says in Kuta Halachos, he says that how could you ever daven for a person to get better? Person is sick because Hashem wants him to be sick. How are you allowed to daven for him to get better? Because Hashem does not want you to suffer. The difficulties that you may be going through, Hashem doesn't want you to go through difficulties. He wants you to call out to Him. He wants you to speak to Him, scream to Him, cry out to Him. He wants you to connect with Him. He doesn't want you to have the difficulty. All right? Adam was created not to have a difficult life. He did it to himself. He did it to us. But he wasn't created to go through a difficult life. He was created in the Garden of Eden. Right? That's what Hashem wants us all to have. But unfortunately, a lot of us don't recognize that until we fall into difficulty. The challenges that most people have are not made to make your life miserable. They're made for you to overcome and come out stronger. Okay?
So if I understand you correctly, you would say we should ask for the things we want and not thank Hashem for necessarily for the difficulties.
No. You can ask for the things you want and thank Hashem for your situation until now. Okay, this is happening, Hashem. I accept it. It's from you. But I would like it to be better. I would like you to improve the situation. If it's financial, if it's emotional, whatever it is. Okay? Thank Hashem for whatever you got. Right? Even difficult moments. Right? And I say, I have arthritis. And there are times I thank Hashem, I hope it'll help me. That's all. I'd rather be without it, but Baruch Hashem, so far, I'm surviving.
curious to hear from your perspective.
Please speak louder.
I'd be curious to hear from your perspective. It seems that there's something maybe unique about Rabbi Nachman, and something unique about Rabbi Nachman or Rabbi Nachman's teachings. I'd be curious how you would characterize why Rabbi Nachman might be unique or different, and what he offers that is maybe so relevant to people today.
You ever hear of Sigmund Freud? Right? It was 100 years ago, whatever. He's called the father of modern psychology. By the way, modern psychology today rejects everything Freud said. That's beside the point. Right? But the thing is, if you learn Likutei Moharan, you'll find that Rabbi Nachman preceded Freud by well over 100 years. And his teachings cover the entire spectrum of psychology today. Covers the entire spectrum. I read articles every so often. I find an article on psychology, psychiatry, whatever it may be. And I could tell you from the article which lesson Likutei Moharan, or where Reb Nosson speaks about it, in Likutei Halachos. I could tell you that. And if I can't tell you that, I will tell you that the psychologist is wrong. I've said this publicly, and I've been challenged publicly, and I showed them why. Right? Rabbi Nachman has all the ingredients that you need for a good life. He speaks about joy. You have to be happy. Right? You ever go to a chasana, a mitzvah, a bris, a kiddush, right? You're happy. You're happy. For how long? How long? A couple hours, a few hours, right? A day, right? Rabbi Nachman says you have to be happy the whole day. Except for the hour of Hispoidedus, you should be happy the whole day. Why? Why? Because if you're happy, you have a positive frame of mind. Isn't that what a lot of psychology is today? Positive frame of mind. Rabbi Nachman says then, right? You have to have a positive frame of mind so that you can go forward in life. And this he speaks about, Reb Nosson speaks about it and whatnot. Joy, you have to make it happen. It's not going to come to you. Maybe you get a raise, maybe you do a good business deal, maybe the wife will accept what you said. You know, there's a lot of different ways how you can get to joy, right? But it comes and it goes. You're the one who's in charge to make yourself happy 23/7. You're the one. Rabbi Nachman says, never give up hope. Never give up hope. Never. Right? Situations appear hopeless. Right? Don't ever think that it's the end of the world. Right? It could be. But don't ever, you don't be the one to give up.
Why is no happiness during Hispoidedus?
Why?
Is there no happiness during Hispoidedus?
I didn't say that. Rabbi Nachman said you should break your heart before Hashem, cry out, scream to Him, pray to Him. Even when you thank Him, you're happy about what you're thanking. It's not to have happiness then. It's just that you should break your heart before Hashem, right? And the other 23 hours though, only happiness, only joy. Okay? Rabbi Nachman says, be honest. Everyone says be honest, right? But be honest with yourself. Are you really honest? Do I really need that piece of cake? Do I really need this argument? Do I really need this problem? Right? Be honest, right? Yes, yes, no, no, but be honest with yourself to accept the things that are happening to you, that you could work with it, not against it. That's one thing. More important point, I don't know if it's really more important, but it's more important, is emunah, faith. Rabbi Nachman speaks about faith. Of course, you have to have faith in Hashem. You also have to have faith in the Torah. you also have to have faith in the tzaddikim, right? The true leaders. Reb Nosson says you can have all these three types of faith if there's one other leg of the chair of faith that if you don't have it, the other three won't mean very much. And that is faith in yourself. Hashem created you. You're here on this planet. You must have a reason for being here, right? Believe in yourself that you have what to contribute, right? Believe in yourself. You have good points. You have good things. You have things that you can help somebody else. You can do tremendous amount of good. Even if I'm a small person, I don't really have knowledge of it, doesn't matter. There's something for you to be able to give somebody else. Believe in yourself that you are important in Hashem's eyes. You're important in Hashem's eyes, then feel it. Walk around with that pride. Jewish pride, they call it, whatever. Walk around with that feeling, right? It doesn't mean you have to be arrogant or haughty or anything like that, but it does mean you have to have self-esteem, right? I can accomplish. I can do things that are what I don't think I can. I can accomplish it at the end of the day. I really, really can.
I just want to ask you a quick question. I don't know how fast you'll be able to answer it, but you talked about not giving up hope and being happy, and there are so many people in the world that are in despair, unfortunately. But there are medications now that people are able to take that appear to be able to like rip off the klipos, so to speak, and people are having sort of these mystical types of experiences.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if you think that's a good thing, and if it is a good thing, should we all be doing it or not doing it, or?
There are, well, let's put it this way. There are a few that require medication. The average person does not. The medication is like an addiction. You rely on it. Why don't you rely on yourself? Rely on yourself that you have the power to really do it and to really accomplish and to really become a powerful person that's in control of themselves. Right? All the stuff with medication, it's frightening. Frightening. There are kids in Shidduchim, right? The doctor says you better take, what's the name of that? Xanax?
Xanax.
Or something else, whatever.
Prozac?
Take it, huh? Prozac, yeah, all that. Right, you got to take all that stuff because quiet your nerves and whatnot. No, become a human being. Become in charge of yourself. What do you think? Pardon me if I say it. I think it's a very terrible thing that the yeshivas don't teach this. They don't instill in the kids self-confidence. Teach the kid to be a mensch, and you don't have to worry about 90% of the stuff. Right? You know, there's problems. Yeah, no question about it. There's problems, but all that you become reliant on medication. Goodbye. Goodbye. My daughter asked me why I don't take a sleeping pill on the flights. I cross the Atlantic 5-6 times a year. Right? I don't take the pill. Why? I don't want to become addicted to it. Right? Sleeping pill. What's the big deal? Don't. Right? If I sleep, I sleep. If I don't sleep, I don't sleep. Right? How many times in my home I don't sleep at home either? So what's the difference? Right? You ever have a night you twist and turn? Okay. Do I need a sleeping pill? No. I need Hashem. I got to bring Hashem into my equation. I got to bring Hashem into my heart. I got to make Hashem feel comfortably. There's a guy, I forgot his name, beautiful, said a swarm. Eshkon Bilvovi Bilvovi Mishkanesky, yeah, it's beautiful swarm. Bilvovi Mishkanesky, yeah. You're a Mishkan for Hashem. Where is Hashem in my life? Right? He's not an abstract thing, he's part of me. Right? or actually the pasuk says, "Vayipach bi'apav nishmas Chaim." Hashem blew His breath into the person, right? The Arizal explains this. A Zohar really good. Vayipach bi'apav manda nofach mitoicher nofach. Right? Whoever breathes, take a deep breath. You want to blow up a balloon, right? That's what Hashem did to the person. He blew His breath into me. Vayipach bi'apav nishmas Chaim. The fact that I'm breathing is Hashem who's with me. Become cognizant of it. Recognize it, that Hashem is with me 24/7. 365, or whatever else you want to say. Right? Hashem is with me all the time.
Just want to say a big thank you to Rav Kramer, Rav Tzvi, for coming and sharing Divrei Chizuk, Divrei Torah. One of the big parts of their trip in America is to fundraise for the translation of Likutei Halachos. We already have, thank God, the 15-volume in English Likutei Moran. I believe, if I remember correctly, that the completion of the Likutei Halachos will be 50 or 60 volumes. And we're looking, the more people can invest and partner with the project, the more teams of translators and annotators they can have, and the more that they can bring out this wonderful project. They already have the first volume out, which is Shkamas HaBoker and Netilas Yadayim. We as well here on Wednesday nights have the Likutei Halachos shir, which has been, Baruch Hashem, really good, and the guys I think really enjoy. For me personally, the Likutei Halachos has been one of the most impactful Sfarim. It's changed my entire life, and I have no busha at all to try to promote and invite people to partner with the project. I think it's one of the most valuable ways a person can invest their meiser, and we have pamphlets over here. I think Rav Tzvi said that if a person is willing to partner, either monthly or maybe once, we have a few copies over here, which is definitely worth it. I believe $180 a month supports one team or 1 hour of a book.
1 hour. What we could do, if you have if you scan the QR on the back, right here, scan the QR, you go online, and watch hours you have, multiple for an hour, you're able to get more and more hours, more people involved. To get, instead of having 1 volume a year, which is 60 years, we'll have 5 volumes a year, which is 15 years. It's just a huge difference. So, just each one what you can do. It's one paper you see, this paper, instead of using dozens of pills, like I said before, you use this book. You save a lot of vacation, a lot of money to go to all this kind of this is it. So each one, you scan the QR, you just be a part of it, help us to get more people involved, and get the books out.
I will